Welcome to Connect the Dots, a podcast for hungry individuals that love to stay curious, who crave for knowledge, and have an insatiable appetite for growth. My name is Alex Lin. I have coached incredible individuals from around the world and noticed something. Everyone has a story from which someone else can benefit. Why dabble and wait to make mistakes yourself when you can save so much time and learn from the experiences of others? In this podcast, I'll share deeply insightful conversations, acquired wisdom, and proven strategies so you can quickly achieve what you want in your business, relationship, health, and personal development. During her time as a high-level executive, Maria Tereschenko led 5 teams, all in different countries, managed accounts well over 8 figures, and closed multi-million-dollar contracts. But after working 15 years in advertising, 5 of which were at FBC Global Marketing, one of the biggest international agencies, she came to the point where she had lost herself in so many ways. Faced with the challenges of raising a young child, overcoming mental battles, and mending a marriage which was on the brink of failure, she knew it was time for a change. As she sought help, she managed to come in contact with therapists who treated her clinical depression using the powerful Gestalt methodology. Only after the first 5 short sessions, Maria felt that she was able to overcome this crisis at hand. With a sense of rebirth, her curiosity led her to study new directions and transform from a marketing executive into a dynamic consultant and executive coach. Tune in as we talk about her story, how she escaped the rabbit hole of depression, and managed to attain extraordinary levels of emotional acceptance and control. Maria, thanks so much for joining me today. It's so lovely to have you. I just wanted to give a quick kind of introduction to you, if that's all right. And then we'll kind of dive right into your journey as an executive coach. Is that okay with you?
It's okay with me completely. Thank you, Alice, to invite me, and I'm very happy to be here and talk to you.
Wonderful. Awesome. So for those listening and those tuning in, if you knew Maria, you know that she was born in a country that actually doesn't exist anymore. It was only around the ages of, I think, 1922 to 1991, if I have that correctly. And if she were to describe her personal universe in a few words, she would use creator, she would use colors, and she would use feminine power. She comes from a background of science and arts, and her scholarly ambitions led her towards pursuing studies in science. However, she ended up becoming a high-level executive in an advertising agency. During her time as an exec, she managed the strategic planning for a team of 5 different teams located in 5 different countries. She managed account sizes of well over 8 figures and helped close multi-million-dollar contracts. And for a long, long time, she's worked alongside some of the greatest and most powerful men in Russia. Until one day, she felt like she lost herself, her femininity, and most importantly, her creative core. This led to an extraordinary transformation from marketing executive to a consultant and now executive coach. Maria, as I understand, you now run a successful practice as a coach in 3 different languages, which is amazing. You speak Spanish, you speak English, and Russian, and gosh, I'm so looking forward to knowing more about what you do and your journey. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Go ahead.
Thank you, Alex, for such introduction. Quite great introduction. Yes, I think all my life I'm going through different changes, starting from 1991 when there was like USSR stop existing, and so I think it was the biggest transformation. I was like, how old I was? I was 20 years old, so it was very long ago, and it was like complete change of the system. For me, because it's the only life that I know, the Iron Curtain and everything like socialism, and it was changed completely. And so it's for me, it's a little bit of analogy what we are living now, because now the world completely is going through the big change because of a pandemic and because the economic crisis, and I feel a little bit like in my 20s.
Right. Wonderful. So it's always
Going
good to feel young.
this, yes,
Good.
yes.
And so I really want to focus, and hopefully on this show, we'll be focusing on that time where you lost yourself. Now, if it's all right with you, I'd love to know a little bit more about that and how you managed to get through that.
Okay, it's yes, it's a very interesting question, and I think a lot of the people could identify with this, because when we put the goals when we're young, and especially with if you are a high performer, you put some ambitious goals, and in the majority of the cases, this is not your goals. I'm very like happy for the people who know from their 13, 15 years old what they want to do, and then they're still in their 40s, they do the same and they're happy. But majority of us, when we are like 17, 18, when we choose career, it's like something like a cultural, family, parents' choice a lot. Like what is the part of the famous thing now, and for me it was even more different, because it was one country when I entered and it was different country when I finished the university. So I I thought that I want to be a high executive. As my grandmother, she was a party leader, and as my very ambitious mother, and she worked in education and science, and so that I want a career, management career, and to be general manager. I got it. I became a general manager when I was 32 years old, uh, and then in a few years I understand that I don't want it, that I don't like it, that I lost fun, that it's like not what I want to do. And my journey began from this point. And also it's like was a very difficult period for me, because my son was born, so my marriage was falling apart, and I had this very high, stressful and responsible job working with the government people, with the big companies, big events, launching the first sport marketing agency in Russia, um, and I really stopped like feeling myself in that moment, and I was like just going, like do the next thing, live the next day, do the thing, don't ask, wake up, go to the office. And because there was a team that I was responsible for, there was a client that I was responsible for, there were very high powerful people with whom we had contract. There was the owners, the founders of the stakeholders I was responsible for,
So let me
my
ask,
son.
what was really driving you? It sounds like you had a lot of responsibility. Now, it's not easy to hold all of that all at once, and you have a lot of burden on your back. So really, what was pushing you to go to the next day, go on to the next day?
It was this responsibility to do that all the people that are depending from myself, the project that were created, but in on the some way I understand that I don't understand why I'm doing this. And this feeling of being tired and being stressed, and this become like constant, and so the bad habit comes, and the problems with the health comes, and the life start losing their colors. So so when I understand that something is not good, something is happening with myself, and I decided to test myself on the internet test what is happening.
Great.
just to be the like, because cautious. And so I did the internet test, and it shows that I'm a deep clinical depression.
Oh, wow.
Okay, definitely the internet test is not enough. It's not like something like you, but I a little bit become worried, and so I decided no, it can't be this way because I'm definitely not feeling myself well. And I'm going on, but so I started looking for help. And my recommendation, definitely, if you don't feel well mentally, if you feel like start losing your life, start losing the taste of life, you need to look for the help. There is nothing shameful in this.
So if I may ask, when did you know, what was that cue that really told you I'm not doing well?
Uh, there was like, like I didn't like perceive the life like life. It was like ongoing run, ongoing like things that you need to do all the time, need to do. And there was no like any kind of pleasure, any kind of colors, any kind of, it was completely all the time like feeling tired.
Right.
Emotionally tired, not physically, emotional, like, and there was no taste in life. Uh, so like all the time push, like it's miserable feeling. So if you feel miserable, look for help. That's my.
Good point. Yeah, that's a really good cue to say, you know, something's wrong. I love how you really depict that for us. You say how life lost its color, life lost its taste. You were very much in auto mode, just moving from day to day, and it just felt like you were just going through the motions, but really not feeling fulfillment or happy or anything like that. Am I correct?
Yes, it's correct. And even if I stopped doing this, there was also no recovery. There was no like all the time this pressure, stress, and so um, I was quite lucky. So I just randomly looked for the therapy. Also, you need to understand that in the Russia and all of the ex-USSR countries, there is a lot of stigma about psychiatry and therapy because psychiatry was used like part of the regime suppression. And so it was quite a big step for me, look for the therapist. And the first one which I found was a really good one, and also maybe because I'm a very resilient person, I recovered in 5 sessions. So yes, I took them, then they maybe in the 5th session, that was completely like game changing. It was Gestalt therapy. It was a complete game changer. Maybe this is like when it was changed and I was start thinking about that I want to help people. It was the first seed that come into the soil of my future career change.
Right. And
And that is
so that experience of going to a psychiatrist, I assume, would be scary, especially in that kind of culture. And so for you to take that step towards getting better, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were diagnosed as clinically depressed. So therefore you went to go get the help that you thought you needed, correct?
I was not diagnosed. I was like just think that maybe I am clinical because you can't use internet tests like diagnosis. It's not, no, please don't do this. You could just do this just to look for, okay, maybe I need to look for the help. Like on all of the internet tests, they said that if you got from moderate to the worst version, maybe it's worth to make an appointment with somebody.
Good.
So yes, I was diagnosed, but when I came to I didn't know that he was a psychiatrist. I thought that he's a therapist. And yes, I was diagnosed with clinical depression. I was treated without antidepressant. First, it was quite effective. Without antidepressant, it was only with therapy, with the Gestalt therapy. I came out, and there was also like body-oriented exercises, which was also very helpful. Because then when I start learning all these things and I'm becoming a coach, I understand that the body is very important. We can't be in our brain. And for the emotional health, body is extremely important.
Wonderful.
So I was lucky to get in the good hands
Right.
and recover myself.
And so I would love to dive deeper into that Gestalt therapy and how that ties into emotional acceptance and control. Because as I understand it, this was a big part in what made you better, what made you feel better.
Yes, because the Gestalt therapy, they took all your body as the whole. They didn't separate your brain from the body. So there is a lot of the work with the non-verbal part of your emotion. And then when I specialize and I start learning it myself, I understand there's a lot of sense, and there is a lot of the medical sense in it, science sense, because we have okay, we have these three major parts of in our brain. We have like our central part of the brain, or reptilian brain, like everybody said, which is like responsible to our basic instincts, to survival. It's like hardware. The programs that are right there, you can't borrow, you can't eliminate them. You come like pre-installed from the factory settings.
Yep.
Then we have our limbic brain, which is start forming around 3 years old, and it's end to form like 12 years old, I think, which this part of the no, I'm sorry, it started forming when we're born, and it's completely formed like 6-7 years old, which is part of our emotional brain and all of the feelings. And then it's now cortex, which is like our systemic and rational brain, which start forming at 3 years old, and it's end to form at the 24, 28 years old. A lot of people think that they take decision and that they remember things with their neocortex, with their part of their systemic rational part of the brain. Where we pronounce words, we talking, we verbalizing things there, we are like talking with the people, stories, all that kind of thing. But the problem is that the main decision taking process, it's happened in the limbic part of the brain. Okay. And also the memory process. We remember things that are connected with the emotions, and we select, we make decision regarding according to the emotional balance that we feel. So this part of the thoughts, they are very fast. They are like 0.01 seconds. It's even way less, 100 times less than 1 second, that we take major decisions, and we can't verbalize them. They can't came in the words, so they can they appear in like sensations, in the chemical and electrical process that came, but these sensations, they appear all around our body. So if we want to understand the emotional process that happened and live it and like healing it, and to make it like fluid in ourselves, we need to make a lot of attention to our body. We need to start listening to it, start feeling it, because when we suppress emotion, what happens? All kind of the illnesses happens. Because we don't pay attention to the signals that our brain send, that what decisions need to be taken. And so it starts pain, it's a problem with the heart, with the blood pressure, with the stomach, depends.
Right.
What kind of, what part of your body you are not listening for. And the therapist that I got, he started working with me in this way. So he was not talking with me like, tell me all the story. I was telling him the stories, but there was like a lot of the working with myself and with my body. And that was so fast. It was like, wow,
Yeah.
very, very fast process.
Could you share with us maybe a couple exercises that you did for yourself that really helped you, that stuck and really showed you that there was a huge difference from where you were as, you know, going through all that trouble and anxiety and depression to after? Which exercise really nailed it home for you?
Okay. The basic exercise, which is emotional acceptance exercise, it's very easy. You close your eyes, you breathe like profoundly, just to start feeling your breath, and then you are thinking about the problem which is bothering you. For example, we're talking about the fear with the pandemic, or fear that your family will be hurt. So you start thinking about, and you're thinking and you're observing the thoughts, like what appears, what thoughts start appearing, like bubble up. You're not trying to resist them, you just let them appear, all of these kind of thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as it's enough, like got the tension, you are thinking, you move yourself and your body, like you try all with the closed eyes, you are like pay attention to your body, scanning it, and you are listening to the sensation and feelings that appears in your body. For example, the fear could provoke some heavy sensation in your throat, or like something is trying to, like, holding you
Right.
on your neck. Or in some people it could be like pain in your chest, or for some people it could be like very like bad feeling in the guts, like even painful feeling, like pain, physical. So you just select one, the most heavy sensation, and you evaluate it for yourself. Okay, how high? It's from 1 to 10, where 10 is completely like, wow, and unsupportable, and 1 is like very, very light feeling. And then you just like submerge in this feeling. You just try to not, judge it, you don't resist to it, you just submit in it, and you try to accept it, even welcome it, like enjoy it, and just concentrate, and as long as you need it, because if you start feel the sensation will gone. You let it, because the only one way to let the emotion gone, it's leave it, because it's a chemical problem. So it appears, you sense it, and then your brain flesh it out and give the space to the next emotion.
Wonderful. Huh.
If you don't do this, the brain will still pump the chemicals and say, you don't listen to me, you don't listen to me. Right? That is the process.
Right.
So you're feeling it, you're facing it, and you are, what is the opposite word in English to resistant? I forget.
To accept.
Sorry. Like you accept it, and the emotion will go down. It could be down, then a little bit up. So you just put it attention it till it gone, or till it becomes so low that it could be manageable.
Wow. It sounds like, so I'm going to sum it up if I may correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds very similar to the practice that I actually did myself with Vipassana meditation. Have you heard of that?
Which one?
Vipassana. So
Yes.
it's a way of meditation. It's very much so where you don't go around the emotions, you go through it. And by going through it, you're able to address it a lot faster if you look at it from an objective perspective. You don't react. You don't say, I don't want this, or you don't say things like, oh, I love this, I need it. It's more of a, it's happening to me and it'll pass, just like everything else in life. The concept of impermanence, and how, all good things come and go, just like all bad things come and go. Am I getting that right?
It's very similar. And you're working in this technique, you're working it through the sensations.
Right.
Because so if thoughts start to appear, you just bring yourself mildly to the sensation. It's way easier, because you work directly with what is emotion sending, the message that emotion sending to you.
Yeah.
The problem with a lot of the techniques, because they asking for some kind of verbalization, and the process, the brain process, like of the verbalization, it's like 100 times slower
Hmm.
than the process of the emotional thinking. There is like, it's like a two parallel thinking, like fast thinking and slow thinking. So when you verbalize, it's a slow thinking. When you are making like intuition, like unconscious decisions, which are not so unconscious if you start listening to your body and you understand it, it's a fast thinking.
Right.
The majority of the judgments and the decision were done with the fast thinking, which is way, 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 way less than 1 second.
Wonderful. And so you use these techniques to help you kind of escape the rabbit hole of depression. Am I correct?
Yes, yes. I had the second episode because this one was heavy, and I used the professional help. And I had the second episode like last year,
Hmm.
and then I recognized it, and I was like feeling that I'm start losing myself. And this time I used my own, like a lot. There is a lot of the techniques of the self-help with the depression. If somebody looking, there is journaling, there is a like the putting yourself in the safe space and like looking on the problem from this safe space. There is a lot of the techniques. I was talking about one, which could be the support for the depression, which you could prevent. This technique is more like preventing you to go down with the depression, because honestly, if the person is already clinically depressed, deeply clinically depressed, I will recommend her to find help. And it could be like just supporting technique, because when the person is depressed, the chemical balance in the body is not so well.
I see. Wonderful. And so coaching in itself, you've experienced coaching for yourself. Am I correct?
Yes.
And so how did coaching help you through this difficult time?
Coaching is the great thing. Therapy has their limits, because therapy, it's like looking on your past,
Mhm.
and so you become okay with your past. It's, you stop suffering from what happened to you before,
Hmm.
but there is no like the future writing. So it's prepare you. You become like, I have now this white, clean, blank paper, nice one, but what I will do with it? Or I will do some origami, or I will write the book,
Right.
or I will draw the picture. So that was like, because I did few therapies, and that when I came to the top with all of the kind of the therapies that I was going through, there is like a limit. The therapist can't help you with like being accountable, like procrastination problems, like doing goals, like, because this is like normal life problems. It is not like clinical. You're not rotten anymore. You just have like troubles to do things sometimes, when organize your mind. And then when I learned about coaching, I was already a consultant in that time, and worked with the business people, with the business owners primarily, and with the leaders, with the big companies, corporations. And I just took the coaching certification just to upgrade myself. I even didn't understand what is coaching really. Uh, and it was great, because when I learned it, I said, that's it. That is that help you come from here where you are just to the next step. And when I explained to the people that coaching is not interested what you lived and what past you had. It's like, okay, what you have now, this what you have, this is the cards that you have. Let's play our games with these cards. It's like we will not we will not clean them. We will not do them nicer and more attractive. We'll play the best game with the drop that you got. That's what coaching do. And coaching is a great tool for the people. And honestly, I did coaching because it looked like very like strange, because the doctors is they use other doctors services. So for me it's very strange if you're a coach and you never took the coaching process. um, and I found it's very helpful. I found it that you could do things faster. you could reach your goal faster with the coaching. You see the things that you don't want to see and that you can't see. The ideas, they come better. It's like you are taking from inside of you the best. And sometimes it's so simple things, but were around, but you didn't saw them, didn't see them. Sorry.
Wonderful. And so, yeah, I love how you touched on that, because a lot of us, we live in this day of busy, busy, busy. We have this sort of monkey mind where we're trying to grab every idea that's really great. But with coaching, it kind of slows you down and you're able to clear the clouds and see that blue sky to see where you really want to go, right?
For me, it's like putting this lens, like the people who are doing shooting exercise for the driving, that they put like this orange lens that help them to see these things clearer. For
Yeah.
me, it's coaching is like this. You start seeing things clearer, you become more focused and less distracted. And also it's help you with some kind of the mental health. Like if you don't have any problems, it just maintain your health, maintain your emotional state.
Right. Wonderful. And so could you talk to maybe a little bit about your current level of emotional acceptance and control, and how you use coaching as a powerful tool to get you to where you want to go?
Okay. I'm a part of the emotional acceptance team. This is the new method which was developed in UK, and I'm the part of the team, of the core team. We just launched our first 60 days trial, and we do it faster because it was planned to do it in June, but because of the situation and that the people need it, we are celebrating the launch, and it's just the beginning. But also people could use it because it's 60 days free, because when we're testing the product. I think that it changed my life when I got like emotional acceptance certified, because it's become part of my way of living. Doing this practice every day, and even do it ongoing, because you start become more sensitive to what has happened with you. And so sometimes it's like you become like feeling this, that I will become angry that something like hooked me. That sometimes one of my husband said, or my son said, something that happened maybe in the in the life. So it's very easy to let it go, like in the seconds, because you just feel it and it's go. And so I think it made me like a better person. It's easier to communicate a lot of the things that I would be like hooked before and engaged before. Now I'm not engaged anymore. Also, it helped to control the fear and anxiety. And I'm still learning. I'm learning more techniques and more things, but it's definitely. And also, the part of the certification was my own emotional acceptance problem, and I got to so deep things in my like past and clean that it was very strange, because there is no possibility to come to such like dark part of your soul just with talking with the person. And it's helped like you're taken level by level by level through the feeling, through just working with the poor unconscious mind, through the sensations that it provoke, and you understand the things that form you. And it was like it helped me to unfold my true self, become more like what I am and myself, my personality. It was great. I would definitely recommend it. Very good for working with. I have a lot of clients working with the deep trauma, with the guilt, shame, this kind of the very deep emotions that are not so nice for verbalizing.
And so you said for yourself, you were able to fix whatever you were going through with only 5 sessions. Am I correct? With the therapist.
Yes, with somebody. Yes, it was 5 sessions.
And so would you say somebody who's wanting to explore this emotional acceptance coaching could they expect to go in just one session and say, okay, I'm done, I'm good now? Or is it kind of a prolonged kind of circumstance or period?
Normally it's like around 3 months. Some people with a more deeper problem, it could last longer, but the majority of the people in 3 months process, they proceed the major problems of their life, learn the technique, and so they could do it on themselves. Yes, definitely, I will recommend like 3 months, 3 months process. Even for the coach, because I'm working as like executive and business coach, and use this technique like a part of it, like the process that less than 3 months, it's very difficult that you achieve something, because we are not changing easy. We are the creatures of habit, and the habits, we form them very early. So it's quite difficult that we're changing our ways, how we see things, how we do things really fast. Very like open person could do it in 3 months. But from my experience working with the business people, and they are very fast people, it takes sometimes from 6 to 8 months to change something.
I see. Wonderful. And so that's really setting the expectation for people who do want to do the emotional acceptance kind of coaching or go down that route. Now, you say 3 months, which is, a decent amount of time. Is this kind of a every day I'm going to see you as my coach, or is it once a week? How does that work for you?
Normally it's once a week, like once a week working with a coach, and it's recommended to do like 5, 10, 15 minutes practice every day. And the people who are like really did the process, normally like did the process, they do this like a normal practice, and they start doing it like 3-4 times per week, because it helps when you feel like a lot of pressure, like doing like it's very similar to meditation, but it's easier than introduction to the classical meditation for the people. So I will definitely recommend for the people who never meditate, so because it's like simpler process. Doing it like in the period of crisis, doing it on the maybe daily or close to daily weight helps a lot of the people. But you don't need a coach to help you. We need a coach to go through deep things.
Right. I like it how you say how this is all going to become part of your lifestyle. It's not just a simple switch like this. It becomes your daily practice. And it's great how you brought up, if for those who'd never meditated before, this is a great alternative. And it's good to know that there's all these resources, especially people like yourself, that people can reach out to in order to go through these kind of, even today, these crises where there's a pandemic going on. And I would assume people need this kind of service to maybe help them get through things a lot easier, faster, and know that they don't need a coach all the time, but to have the tools so powerful to just get you through it a lot easier. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely. Because of this, we launched this like membership program, which is on the page, which is like open classes, live classes. So it's like 45 minutes guided class for the people. So you could try it yourself and do it. So you don't need coach, and now it's free. And after trial periods will be very accessible price. And if you want to go deeper, so you could hire a coach for 1-on-1 3 months program.
Right. Awesome. So that's a really great segue into how do the listeners and how do the people that are watching get a hold of you, Maria? Because this work that you're doing is so powerful. It's helped yourself and it's transformed you from, your adversity to now. I mean, how do we get a hold of you?
Sorry.
How do we get in contact with you?
Okay. You could go to the page, which is teamea.global, and register there. You could find like a practitioner there also, and I think all other materials, they're in Spanish. I think this one in English. And also I don't know if you put description, we can find me on Facebook, which is Maria Tereschenko. It's a little bit difficult to write. and follow me, and my LinkedIn also.
Okay. So I will put all that information in the description below for those who are watching on YouTube. On podcasts, it'll be also in the description. And I want to say thank you so much for your time today. This was so amazing. And I really look forward to people reaching out to you and seeing the work that comes out of that.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you very much for inviting me. And it was great to talk. And I hope it will help people. And they will try it.
I hope so too. So once again, have a great day, Maria. Thanks so much for joining the show, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Alex. Bye.
Bye. I do what I believe, and what I believe is that everyone holds a story that can help someone else. Through coaching, I'm able to lead conversations, dig deep, and elicit personal experiences that lead to eye-opening insights. If you want more of this, and learn from some of the most incredible people on this planet, go to coachalexlin.com/connectthedots.